2 months earlier, San Quentin was its usual strange mix of loud voices, metal doors, and a constant echo of people who wished they were anywhere else. The prison sat on the edge of the cold San Francisco Bay, where fog wrapped around the walls like a ghostly blanket. Officer Raymond Carter had worked here for years. He wasn't scared of much anymore. Not the inmates, not the fights, not even the long nights alone on duty. But lately, something about San Quentin felt different, strange. It started with the noises. At first, Carter thought it was just rats or old pipes. But soon, other guards said they heard things too. Doors opening by themselves, footsteps in abandoned parts of prison, and whispers late at night. One guard even quit. Another refused to work night shifts. San Quentin was already known for its dark past, riots, famous criminals, executions. But this felt worse, older, like something had been hiding behind the walls for years. One evening, Carter was assigned to West Block, the oldest part of the prison. Most of it was shut down, sealed off long ago because the structure was too weak and unsafe. But while doing his rounds, Carter noticed something strange. A faint light, coming from a hallway where no power should exist. He told himself it was probably another guard, or maybe a leftover bulb. But curiosity pulled him forward. He walked past old cells covered in dust, spiderwebs hanging like gray curtains. The air was cold, far too cold for a building with no ventilation. That's where he found the first clue. A set of footprints on the dusty floor. But not fresh. Very old. Like someone had walked through decades ago, but somehow they had never faded. Strange. Carter followed them to a wall that didn't look like the rest. The bricks were newer, cleaner. Wrong. He touched the wall and felt a small vibration, like something behind it was moving. He stepped back. He checked the prison blueprint. Nothing about a wall here. Nothing about a room behind it. Maybe it's a storage room, he whispered. But he knew that was a lie. That night, Carter asked older guards about the West Side. Most said they didn't know. One said, "Don't bother." Another said some doors were sealed for a reason. Even stranger, an old retired guard named Mr. Hallbrook gave this warning. Never open what San Quentin tried to forget. Carter couldn't sleep that night because he needed to know what exactly had San Quentin forgotten. The discovery. A week later, Carter returned to the wall, this time with tools. He tapped on the bricks. Hollow. There was a room behind it. He chipped away a corner brick. Behind it was a metal door. A door no one had opened for almost a century. Carter reached for it. His hands were shaking. It opened. Inside was a room he wasn't supposed to see, with a circle of wooden chairs, the chains, and the yellowed paper scattered everywhere. He picked up the top paper. The words were faded but readable. Room 13, Behavior Correction Experiments, 1934 to 1942. Experiments? On prisoners? He flipped to the next page. Names of inmates, dates, and something that chilled him. Subject will be left in isolated darkness to test mental deterioration. He dropped the page in horror. That's when he heard it. A voice, soft, broken, coming from the far corner. Carter froze. "Who's there?" he whispered. A faint figure moved, slowly, like someone who hadn't walked in a very long time. When the prisoner stepped into the light, Carter felt his blood turn to ice. This was impossible. The man looked like he belonged to the 1940s. His uniform was old. His tag number didn't exist anymore. The prisoner stared with empty eyes. "You opened the wrong door," he whispered. Carter backed up slowly, but before he could run. SLAM. The door shut behind him. The room went dark. The figure moved closer. The darkness inside the hidden room felt alive. Officer Carter could hear only two things: his own heartbeat and the slow, dragging steps of the prisoner walking toward him. A cold finger touched Carter's neck. He froze. The voice whispered, low and shaking, "They locked us in here, and they never came back." Carter wanted to scream, but no sound came out. His flashlight flickered weakly, barely showing a man's face. Thin, pale, cracked like dry paper. The prisoner leaned forward. We waited for 80 years. The flashlight died. Cut to black. Cliffhanger intro ends. How it started inside the room. Carter forced himself to breathe slowly. It was the only thing he could control. He shook the flashlight, hoping it would come back on. It didn't, but the sound of the prisoner's feet stopped. Silence filled the room. Carter whispered, "Who are you?" Nothing. No answer. He stepped back slowly, feeling the cold wall behind him. His fingers traced something metal. A switch? A latch? He pressed it. A small emergency light blinked on in the ceiling. A red light, dim, but enough to see the entire room. What he saw made his chest tighten. There were 6 chairs, not one, each with old, rusted chains, each with old names carved into the wood. He looked at the last chair. The name carved there was Prisoner 4012, Nathaniel Hargrove. He looked up. The man standing 10 feet away wore a uniform with the same number, 4012. Carter's throat went dry. Nathaniel Hargrove, he whispered. The prisoner didn't blink, didn't breathe, didn't move. He simply said, "Do you know what they did to us?" Carter shook his head. Hargrove pointed to the yellow papers on the floor. Carter picked one up. Phase 4, isolation until mental collapse. He kept reading. Do not unlock room 13. Subjects may show violent, unpredictable behavior after long-term darkness exposure. Long-term? How long? Carter looked up again, but Nathaniel Hargrove wasn't where he was before. He was now standing only 1 foot away. Carter stumbled back. How did you get here so fast? Hargrove tilted his head. I never left. The calm before the next fire. Carter tried to stay calm. He had to think like a trained officer. He looked around the room again, now using the dim red light. Rusted chains. Old paperwork. A broken clock stuck at 3:14. A camera in the corner. A microphone wired to a wall panel. A metal vent halfway open. There were ways out. He just had to find the right one. Listen, Carter said carefully. I want to help you, but I need to know how long you've been here. Hargrove slowly sat in one of the wooden chairs, chains clinking. It never ended, he whispered. Every time we screamed, they wrote it down. Every time we cried, they called it progress. When they got tired of watching us suffer, they sealed the door. So you've been trapped since 1942? Carter asked. Hargrove didn't answer. Instead, he looked toward the shadows behind him. Carter followed his gaze. That's when he noticed something he hadn't seen before. Another chair. Chair number 7. But this one was different. No dust. No rust. It looked freshly cleaned. New. Carter walked closer. There was a tag on it. Reserved for new subject, 2025. Carter stepped back. No, that can't be for me. Hargrove lifted his head slowly. It is something in the walls. Carter panicked now. He rushed to the door and pulled with all his strength. Locked. Completely sealed. He turned to the microphone on the wall and shouted, "Hello? This is Officer Carter. I need assistance now." Silence. He slammed the panel again. Still silence. That's when he heard a new sound. Scratch, 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 coming from inside the wall behind the chairs. Carter pressed his ear to the surface. Something was moving. Something crawling. "No," he whispered. "There can't be anyone else." Hargrove stood up and backed away slowly. "They never told you the truth," he said. "We weren't the last ones in here." Carter turned to him. "What do you mean?" Hargrove pointed at the wall. "They put someone else in there, and they never let him out." The scratching grew louder. Then it turned into pounding. Boom, boom, boom. Carter stepped back as the wall began to crack. Dust fell from the ceiling. The emergency light flickered. Whatever was behind the wall was trying to break through. Hargrove whispered, "He's still alive." The cracking got worse. A hole began to form. A hand, thin, gray, shaking, pushed through. Carter screamed. Boom! The wall exploded outward. Something crawled out. Something human, But not completely. Its eyes were wide, unblinking. Its mouth hung open. Its bones looked twisted like it had been trapped in a space too small for too long. It stared at Carter, dragged its body forward, and lunged,